Today we're talking about former Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin floating the idea of buying TikTok. Bernie Sanders has revealed a bill aiming to move to a 4-day work week, and James Crumbley, the father of the Oxford shooter, has been found guilty for the actions of his son. All in this, I can't really think of a catchy theme for this one, episode of... But like always, before we start, make sure you're subscribed so you never miss a full episode or daily Insight Bite. Now, Alice, let's go with the TikTok update first.
Former Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin is spearheading a consortium to potentially purchase TikTok, aiming to transition its ownership away from its Chinese parent company, ByteDance. Mnuchin's involvement underscores the high level of interest in TikTok, a platform with significant influence and over 170 million US users.
Right, so former Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin says he's assembling an investor group to try and buy TikTok, aiming to separate the popular app from its parents as momentum builds in Congress for a for sale. Mnuchin, a longtime critic of TikTok's Chinese ownership, didn't provide details on how he might acquire the business, potentially valued over $100 billion. Mnuchin told CNBC the legislation should pass and it should be sold. It's a great business and I'm gonna put together a group to buy TikTok. By the way, this should terrify us. Anyways, the House this week passed a bill to ban TikTok from the US App Store if ByteDance refuses to sell, if you've been living under a rock. TikTok says it would be an effective ban, arguing separating its US operations isn't viable. The Senate, however, is weighing a more cautious approach. US officials fear TikTok's China ties may allow Beijing to harvest user data and push narratives, which is why Steve Mnuchin most likely feels this is great for business. Anyways, of course, TikTok denies ever sharing data with China's government. Senator Mark Warren backed exploring the sale rather than a shutdown, saying, quote, "It would be great for a group of investors were to buy this." End quote. Cause again, the only narrative that should be out there is our wealthy people's narrative. Damn it. Actually, slightly more bothersome is the history the ex-Goldman Sachs banker has assembling investments drawing Middle East funds. Anyways, where do you stand on the TikTok ban? Are you team ban or team safe? Or team we're fucked either way? Let me know.
Senator Bernie Sanders has introduced a bill proposing a 4-day work week in the U.S., aiming to reduce the standard work week from 40 to 32 hours without cutting pay.
Alrighty, so Uncle Bernie on Wednesday unveiled the 32-Hour Workweek Act, legislation that aims to transition Americans to the 4-day work week over 4 years without any pay reduction. The bill gradually lowers the threshold for overtime pay from the current 40 hours to a standard 32 hours. After the phase-in period, employees would receive 1.5 times the regular pay for any hours worked beyond 8 in a day and double pay for any hours over 12 in a day. Sanders said in a statement, "Moving to a 32-hour work week with no loss of pay isn't a radical idea. American workers are over 400% more productive than in the 1940s, yet millions work longer hours for lower wages. The gain from AI, automation, and technology must benefit the working class, not just the CEOs." End quote. The bill aims to protect worker pay and benefits to prevent any income loss from the reduced hours. Sanders argues it'll reduce stress and improve quality of life as productivity increases outpace long-standing labor standards. Senator Butler and Representative Takano from California introduced companion legislation in their respective chambers. Quote, "This bill allows hardworking Americans more family time while ensuring profits don't just go to a select few," Butler stated. "Pilot studies have shown productivity gains and reduced burnout with the 4-day schedule. I mean, just remember, some European nations already have a shorter work week, with France considering a 32-hour standard themselves. We'll have to see how this is going to play out when it comes to full-time hourly employees versus their salaried counterparts, but for now, the idea has entered the ring, and I'm here for it, baby."
James Crumbley has been convicted of unintentional manslaughter in connection with the tragic school shooting carried out by his son at Oxford High School.
That's right, everyone. James Crumbley, the father of the teenager who killed 4 students at Oxford High School back in 2021, was convicted yesterday, March 14th if you're watching this in the future, on 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter. The verdict came weeks after his wife Jennifer Crumbley became the first parent of a school shooter to be held criminally responsible for their child's attack when she was found guilty on the same charges. Crumbley remained largely emotionless as the verdict was read, while some victims' families smiled in apparent relief. I mean, who can blame them? Prosecutors argued that Crumbley failed to take reasonable steps that could have prevented the mass shooting on November 30th, 2021. They said he purchased the 9mm handgun used in the attack as a Christmas gift for his 15-year-old son Ethan, and then neglected to secure it properly or alert school officials about the disturbing drawings and messages made by Ethan in the morning of the shooting. Quote, "James Crumbley failed to use ordinary care, which could have prevented the death of 4 kids," Karen McDonald, the Oakland prosecutor, told the jurors. The defense contended there was no evidence the father was aware of Ethan's homicidal intent, noting the teen had no prior disciplinary issues. Unlike his wife, James Crumbley declined to testify in his own defense. The case against the Crumbleys is unprecedented unprecedented, marking the first time parents were charged for their roles in their child's deadly school rampage. Previously, some parents have faced lesser charges linked to similar shootings, but these convictions may face appeal challenges over the evidence found at the trial, including passages from Ethan's journal that discussed his mental health, writings his parents insisted they never saw. Ethan Crumbley pleaded guilty to murder and terrorism charges last year and is currently serving a life sentence. And on that, we're gonna call it. If you made it this far, do me a favor and hit that like button. And also, I haven't said this in a while, stay weird, stay safe, and I will see you next time.